Hey there, welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you, and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up, Tom Brady and Colin Cowherd had a very interesting conversation about Brock Purdy, the Niners, and how Christian McCaffrey coming back can really benefit this Niners offense. I want to go through what Tom Brady had to say. He's going to be on the call for Niners Buccaneers on Sunday, and I think a lot of you are going to enjoy the show. Programming reminder, we will be live for Niners Buccaneers on Sunday, NFL Week 10 action in Florida. Niners coming off the bye, looking to get above 500 with the win. They will be 5-4. We will get started with an hour pregame show, and our coverage begins 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, so be sure to lock us in and hit that sub button for year-round and daily coverage of the San Francisco 49ers. So to give you a recap of everything that we're talking about here today, Colin Cowherd, Tom Brady, Thursday on the Herd, Fox Sports Radio, FS1, talked about a couple of different subject matters. What about Brock Purdy impresses Tom Brady, who's right up there with Joe Montana as two of the top quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League? How Brock Purdy runs this offense and the strengths that he has. And then lastly, the impact of Christian McCaffrey and some of the other players on this Niners team. So let's begin with what impressed Brady about Brock Purdy. And remember a couple of years ago when Brock Purdy was inserted as the Niners starter, taking over for Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, he had a heck of a game when Tom Brady's Buccaneers traveled to Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Here's what Brady had to say. I think about Purdy, it's his poise and composure. It's him being calm under chaos. That's what the quarterback needs to do. When he walks in that huddle, he needs 10 other guys to look at him and go, all right, man, you're totally under control. And whatever you say, we're going to do our best because we know you're going to deliver. And they all have that confidence in Brock Purdy as a player. Brock is not the biggest athlete. His arm strength is not like Aaron Rodgers. But if he can play with anticipation, and this offense to me, even studying the last few days, the offense is different than what they did last year and the year before. They had so many weapons the last couple of years. Brock essentially was a point guard out there, delivering balls to halfbacks, flip it out to Debo to gain yards. He had Ayuk catching in cuts. Oh, you forget about George Kittle? Then the Niners throw it over the top. And some of my takeaways with what Brady said there, he must watch the show because I've been talking about these things, all jokes aside, for a really, really long time. What stands out to me about Purdy, he has a couple of elite traits that help him make up for the lack of size and the lack of arm strength that Tom Brady mentioned. That's poise, that's calmness. He has a composure about him. He played so much football at Iowa State. So when he started his NFL career, he didn't look overwhelmed because he's seen a lot throughout his football life, and he has vast experience. And when you think about some of the other teammate and tangible things that Brady noted, Brock Purdy's teammates have always rallied around him. They've always supported him. Fred Warner said it from day one when Purdy was one of the practice squad quarterbacks, even in training camp when he was a rookie. Fred Warner noticed that he had it. Nick Bosa has said that. George Kittle has said that. And Purdy's teammates clearly have confidence in him as a player because a lot of them have gone on record and they've said, what does Purdy need to do to prove to people that he's a legitimate quarterback in this league? We know he's not a freak athlete. He doesn't have height of Josh Allen. He doesn't have arm strength of Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have some of the natural abilities of Patrick Mahomes. But how Purdy is able to make up for that is how other great quarterbacks have been able to make up for it. Joe Montana was not a freak athlete with a bazooka for an arm. Either was Tom Brady. But Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Brock Purdy, they excelled with timing, accuracy, anticipation, processing. You can't always coach that. And Purdy has those skills with his ability to layer footballs in, demand the middle of the field. I think his deep ball accuracy is very underrated. So too is the improvisational aspect to his game where he can really create out of structure with his feet and with his legs. And in previous years, Purdy has been surrounded by a full cast of weapons. This year, though, it's been a little bit more chaotic. He didn't have Brandon Ayuk all throughout training camp and in the preseason. Then Ayuk goes down. Debo's been hurt. George Kittle missed a game. Didn't have Trent Williams throughout training camp and in the preseason. No Christian McCaffrey. So Purdy has had to make do. And when you look at his numbers, last year he was top 5 in MVP voting. He was so efficient. This year he's completing under 65% of his passes. 2,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 picks. So the numbers are down a little bit. But at moments this year, because he's had to do more with less, I actually think Purdy has played some of the best football in moments throughout his career. Has he had some bad games? No doubt about that. Against Minnesota, against Kansas City, 2 really good defenses. But things have been a little bit unstable around him, and at moments he's been able to make do. So today's poll question is this. We have a lot more to get to here on the show, by the way. Don't you go anywhere. Is Brock Purdy a top 10 quarterback in this league? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let your voices be heard right here on the 49ers Report down in the comment section right now. Let's pay our bills. We really appreciate Prize Picks for making today's 49ers Report possible. The best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And right now, when you play $5, you get $50 instantly. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. You win big money. You can withdraw your winnings within the Prize Picks app. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS. Some of our selections for Niners Bucks on Sunday. Juwan Jennings, more than a half rushing and receiving touchdown. Now that he's healthy coming off that hip, Brandon Ayuk is out. He will have a larger role. George Kittle's been in fuego this year. More than 55.5 receiving yards. And then Baker Mayfield, less than 241.5 passing yards. Pick more, pick less. Daily fantasy sports made easy. prizepicks.com/CLNS. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's 49ers Report. As for what Tom Brady had to say about Christian McCaffrey coming back and why he's so important to this offense, we've talked a lot on this show about what CMC is going to be able to bring San Francisco. This is a different set of eyes from one of the GOATs in Brady. He provides that passing threat out of the backfield, Brady said, that they just haven't had this year. So now the defense has to come up close to the line of scrimmage to defend the run with Christian as well as the pass. And that, to me, opens up more of the intermediate and deeper parts of the field for Brock, where they've kind of been throwing the intermediate type targets on the field this year, which I don't think is necessarily the strength of this offense. And I agree with Brady there. Just the mere presence of CMC being on the field, the defense has to account for him at all times. It helps to keep the defense off guard. He's also such a dynamic runner, a clean route runner and receiver. You can use him in a variety of ways as a receiver. Wheel routes, checkdowns out of the slot. I think he's going to help the Niners' 28th ranked red zone offense. And it's another weapon again to stress that defense. More from Brady on the Niners receiving core. Losing Brandon Ayuk, a brutal loss, but you have drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round. He's going to get his legs underneath of him. You have Jennings, who's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL, and then Debo with this versatility. You still have Kyle Juszczyk, who's a ridiculous chess piece for Kyle, and then you have Kittle, who can turn up from time to time, and you go, holy cow, we almost forgot about him. Other Brady notes of note, he referenced that the Niners, right around the bye week, halfway pull of the season, always seem to turn it around at about this juncture of the season. He's totally right on that. Kyle Shanahan's teams have fared very well after the bye week, and over the last 3 years, in the second half of the season, they've won more than 70% of their games. The 49ers, Brady also added, and we've talked about this on the show, are getting back Dre Greenlaw. He mentioned that they've really been missing Javon Hargrave as an interior defensive lineman. He made an interesting point about this Niners defense. How right now, especially up front, it's been a one-man show with Nick Bosa, and he hasn't had a lot of help. That's why some people, including me, may have been interested in at least scouring the market for another edge rusher. But that's also why Leonard Floyd, you have to step up. He has 3 sacks right now. In the last 4 years, he's had at least 9 sacks every single year. The Niners have come out of games guns a-blazing with that pass rush, but then because of the lack of depth, they've kind of trickled off and gotten tired as the game has progressed. So outside of Bosa, who leads the NFL in pressures, somebody needs to step up as far as generating pressure on the quarterback. And then Brady noted that if the Niners can get back Dre Greenlaw, and if he can play even just close to the level that he did last year, the Niners have one of the best linebacking tandems in the NFL. And that's been a weakness for this Niners defense this year because Devondre Campbell just isn't it. And Dre Greenlaw is so much better. You have Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw at that second level. It really improves this defense against the pass and against the run. My closing thoughts, look, San Francisco can go on a run. They are well coached. They have coaching talent. They have roster talent. They are battle tested. They've played in a lot of monster games. They just have to play up to their level. And if they do that, they can win the NFC in what is a very wide open conference.